Hey guys, Bushcraft Jerry, Bushcraft Dmirtri, and me have had enough of waiting for the zombie apocalypse to hit and for things to change. So we just said we're going to live out here till it all kind of corrects itself out, until nature resets itself. I'm making food. I think you're making a shelter, right? Or is that a deer slingshot you have going on over there?
Yes, it's shelter.
Okay. So I've actually made a few modifications to my kit.
Yeah.
This is the kettle or pot I was using on the Cheers to a Simpler Time video, where I made jack pine tea. And back then, if you go back and watch that video, you'll notice I had a plastic green tip on there, or tab, or whatever you call it, and that was a pain in the butt. I took that off because it would melt whenever I put it on fire, so I wasn't too happy with that. And all I did was put on a keychain ring, and I actually have another addition to my cook set. This is a mug I have that just slips inside there, and I keep those together. So now I can actually make food and boil water at the same time. It doesn't take up that much room in my pack if I keep them together like this. So I'm really happy with that upgrade. And here I have, yes, I am barefoot. My socks and boots are wet. That's why I'm staying on this tarp for now, and I'm making the food, and Bushcraft Dmirtri is making the shelter because he has a fancy pair of rubber boots and a bit of common sense. So anyway,
if common sense is so common, why is it so rare? Why does no one have it?
Dmirtri, leave the thinking to me.
Duh.
So like I was saying, if I put this mug inside of that kettle, it fits very nicely into here. And all this really is it used to be a pair of pant legs, or one pant leg. And what I also can do with this once I'm set up at camp is I can use this as a foraging bag and put like wild edibles in here while I keep my cooking utensils around camp. Dmirtri, why are you sitting down? You have absolutely made no progress on the shelter. Why are you sitting down?
Well, shelter is your skin, you keep dry on the inside. So that's the most important survival skill you need to know.
That your skin is your shelter.
Yes. Duh.
Bushcraft Jerry does not endorse this message. So I'm going to do a little product review or product placement. This knife is the Browning Ignite. I picked it up at Cabela's. I think it was like 60 bucks. But I absolutely love this knife for several reasons. One, what caught my eye initially was it has the ferro rod right on the sheath there. And I've used this a bunch and it's still kind of tight to get out. And I really like it. And also, it has this rubber band to keep it in when I don't want it to come out. The clip itself is still fairly tight. And I've used this knife a bunch, right, Dmirtri?
Yes.
I had this at Nopaming
Yep.
when we went there. Every time me and him are outside, I use this knife. You can verify that. And like the clips are all still tight. I'm not worried about nothing falling out. But if I was, problem solved. That's not going anywhere. The second feature, and even if you're not really wanting to go out for like a 10-day trip or anything like that, this is a perfect knife for hunting, hiking, fishing, whatever, because as a lot of you know, weapons are becoming more and more frowned upon in today's society for stupid reasons. But this knife is super easy to take off if you're quickly going to a store or coming back from a trip. So I just push in here and it'll pop out, and this will stay on your belt, and you can keep this in your pocket. That way you don't have to fight to take the knife out of your belt, because this clip, the one thing that is a little too tight on this knife is this clip here, but you want that to be tight. You don't want that falling off of your belt or whatever. So, but Browning has made up for it by making this easy to release thing here. So I really like that, and I really like this knife. For 60 bucks, it's a great knife. The ferrocene rod sparks well. Yeah, I absolutely love this knife. For like a $60 Bushcraft knife, this is what I would recommend. No knife review is complete without actually putting it through its paces. And you've seen me baton with this before. It works really well. It's really good for processing wood, making tinder, making kindling, not tinder. Tinder, you want finer stuff than this. I'm not the best at making feather sticks yet, so yeah. I really like this knife, guys, for $60, and I could put a sharpener on it again. It probably needs it, but for 60 bucks, I think this is a great knife. This is where I was for my very first video. It's not all that far deep in the wilderness. It's just a little pasture. This is actually the farmyard I kind of grew up on in my teen years. Not 100% sure what that is. Like I said, this is a sheep pasture, so it's probably a sheep skull. Right in those that grove of poplar trees in there, maybe 75 feet in from where I'm standing, is where I actually shot my very first rabbit. Holy crap, that was 11 years ago. Shot my very first rabbit in these clump of trees right here. So this place is kind of special to me. It's not where I first started going into the woods, but I did spend a lot of time here. Here we have Bushcraft Dmirtri trying to kill an already dead skull.
Good meat, good meat.
Dmirtri, the meat's rotted away already.
Minor detail, minor detail.
There's probably still marrow still left in the bone, right?
Duh.
Caveman ate marrow out of the bone. Through the camera, because of the glare of the sun, I can't see where you're hitting.
Maybe camera pick it up.
Maybe.
Perfect shot right there.
Okay. Dmirtri, next time you come to Canada, I'll have to bring you your AK-47.
Da. Smuggle.
Bushcraft Jerry does not approve this message. Do not smuggle AK-47s into the country. So Dmirtri, so what would you say is the biggest difference between survival here in Canada and survival back home in Russia?
Well, in Canada, you survive apocalypse. Back in Russia, apocalypse survives you.